We are in the last portion of the eclipse season for 2025, and it has been very powerful for me. So, I'm going to share a bit about my personal experience with it, maybe some things you can relate to and reflect on. But I want to share something very personal. As some of you may know, I've shared before in the podcast, is I've never met my biological father. And with this eclipse portal happening right now, I've had the most progress that I've ever had on this direction. And I've tried a lot of things over the years and gone a lot of directions, even had someone from the FBI helping me. But now I've made some big progress. And that's something I'm going to share about today in my own journey with this. And also, if you want to know about how to work with this eclipse season, if you haven't already gotten the free guide, check it out. It's been super popular. It's on my website, quietmindastrology.com. There's a free guide for the eclipse season, like how to work with it, what themes have probably come up for you, what opportunities have come up, what challenges have come up. So I'm going to share a bit about my experience and how you can kind of work with what's going on, and we'll talk about more personal stuff first, though. So if you've been following, you may know that I grew up in Minnesota, not knowing my father. But if you look at my birth chart, I have a lot of indicators of not knowing my father, or distant father, or sudden disappearance of the father, ups and downs of the father. So if you're curious about how to see those in a birth chart, one of the biggest ones is just having sun in the eighth house, because the sun is the father. Eighth house is sudden change and transformation. So that can put a father in a distant or very transformational situation, possibly losing the father at a young age, or a father that's distant. And then having Rahu and Aries there as well, also in the eighth house, is like part of my life path is to find myself and to move away from the family of Ketu and Libra in the second house and move towards the self and my own self-discovery journey. And then Rahu's with the sun. So now it's like looking for myself and looking for the father. And this is constant transformation and evolution of what that means. So those are some of the things. And then, the ruler of the 12th is in the 8th. So then that's Leo. So the sun ruling the 12th house in the 8th house is the father is ruling the 12th house of losses, and it's in the 8th house of transformation and change. So there's a connection again with the father, losses, distance. Similar would be sun in the 12th house. Another similar placement I see a lot for a distant father, or sun in the 9th house, a father who travels a lot, or maybe shares different philosophical or spiritual beliefs than you. So there's a distance there. So these are just some examples. There's many more. Moon and Ardra brings a lot of challenges and hardships through life, especially in early life, and with the mother as well. So lots of challenges there. And then the moon being alone, no planets before, after, or with the moon, is also a placement that can bring a lot of challenges and difficulty. Now, this is all stuff I've worked on a lot, and I've been in men's groups for many years and doing a lot of personal growth work, and looked for my father for many years and realized I might never find him. And that means I need to find that energy in myself. And learning about Carl Jung's work and the archetypes, and that we all have these different archetypes within us. And when you have a present father and a healthy father figure, that brings the father archetype into your life in a healthy way, and it's modeled for you. And everyone, we all need to individuate as teenagers and separate. And if you remember, and if you have teenagers, it can be very difficult and irritating in a lot of ways, frustrating. But we all need that individuation process to separate from the family, find ourselves. But the things that we learn in early development have a huge imprint on us. And there's a psychological piece of that. There's a personal development kind of piece of that. There's a lineage piece of that through your family lineage and your patterns. But in astrology, we can see all of this. And that's what blew me away when I did my first reading with my mentor. Is he basically read my life story and spoke to me in a way that, like, I felt very seen and understood. And like, how did you see that? I want to know. I want to learn how to do this. So that was a big piece. And with the fatherlessness thing, there's so many aspects of it. But I still, knowing that, still tried, and have still tried to pursue whatever direction I could look to try to find something. And I was fortunate to find somebody in the FBI to help me out and look at different records, and nothing really came out of that. But I've been looking, and one of the things I've been using is Ancestry, the DNA site. It's not an advertisement or anything like that, but I've had my info on Ancestry for a while. My sister made a family tree on there to try to track some things down. She made a lot of progress. And now I have a match on there that is actually even stronger than my half sister. So my half sister and I have a 23% DNA match. This person has a 27% DNA match with me. So it says he's likely a grandfather or uncle or half brother or maybe a cousin, but it's on the father's side. It's not my mother's side. So with this platform, if you happen to know anybody with the last name Triba, Tryba, the name that came up was David Triba. So I think this is okay to share, I'm pretty sure. But I don't have any info on him on the site. I looked him up. There's an architect with that name. I don't know if it's the same person. Kind of looks like he could be my uncle. I don't know. But I don't know. I've reached out to many people. I've reached out to these different David Tribas that I did find and hoping to hear back. But I also had some cousin matches on there on Ancestry I've reached out to try to find this. But this is the best progress I've had. Like I have a 27% DNA match. That means I'm very close to my paternal lineage. So if I could find somebody who knows him, maybe I could find somebody who knows my paternal father. So that would be cool. That would be awesome. But all that to say, it's like this is happening around the eclipse, and I ended up having, I'm not super close with my family because I just have the maternal side, and it's been a lot of messiness there, and different people going in different directions, and so there's challenges with that. And I've been quite close with my sister, though, my half sister. I spent some time with growing up. So we stay in touch and we ended up having a long conversation. It's very nice, very connecting. And that's where she kind of led me down this path of how she found her paternal father, biological father, that she didn't know just until a few years ago, also, similar issue. So she was able to find him doing this. So she's like, oh, if you have this match and you can do that and you can reach out to this person and that'll probably get you closer. And so, anyway, I don't know if anyone listening will have any connections there, but just wanted to share that anyway. But all around the eclipse season. So, this is the kind of stuff that one might expect around the eclipse season when the eclipse is in Leo, Ketu in Leo. So, Ketu is about what's in the past, where you've come from. Leo is about your lineage, your family, your ancestry. So, going back to the past. And Venus brings a harmonious energy. Venus is a benefic, and it does bring this positive support of what you desire, what you want to move towards in this realm. In this case, my case, it's going back to my family lineage and learning stuff there. And there's also just learning through the idea of the archetypes. So even if I don't ever find my father, there's still the father archetype within me that I've got to work with in some way, and I've had to learn to work with and find it from different male mentors or role models or teachers. Some bad role models when I was a kid, some good role models, thankfully, that got me out of it. A counselor I had in high school helped me a lot. So, this is an energy we all have within us. And for all of us going through K2 in Leo, this eclipse season. So it means whenever the eclipse season comes, you're going through a portal. You're going through a big transformation of something is ending and something is beginning. So the new moon ending the second eclipse, the new moon, starting a new chapter around Leo stuff, authority, family, leadership, and lineage. But K2 is there. So it's like letting go of an old way of being, an old role. And I don't know, maybe I'll never meet my father. I've accepted that. But this is a new perspective. At least maybe I could meet some distant cousins and maybe I could eventually connect to something in my paternal lineage, gives me some sort of perspective. And if you've ever done this work, like just talking with my sister, as we're kind of talking about our history and our past and the things that have shown up in her life and reflecting how I see those in our mother, our grandmother, and learning about our grandmother's mother, is a lot of repeated patterns. This is very common in family lineages. And with this eclipse season, I think it's a big opportunity to become conscious of those patterns and maybe change them, maybe work with them, and maybe not repeat them. That's something I've been very conscious of in my life. to not repeat the patterns that I'm conscious of as best I can, and operate from a place of choice and like what I want to create rather than just working on autopilot or repeating patterns. Not easy work, a lot of therapy, personal growth stuff, but that's, what yoga and meditation has given me. And when I think back through like the idea of structure, the father energy, the father archetype in my life, I dropped out of school, which all of my family did. I got a GED though, which only a few people in my family did. So my sister as well. So I got a GED and I started focusing on music, and that was my main thing. But I really struggled to like finish things. So this is the masculine energy, struggling to finish things, follow rules, structures, systems. It all seems arbitrary. It's all just like made up. But there were things I really, really loved to learn and loved to do. And I actually was a very good student, but we just kept moving so much. I got tired of moving and going to new schools. So dropped out, got a GED, and pursued music and had a hard time finishing anything there. But when I found yoga and meditation and this yoga path and took my first yoga teacher training, yeah, back up before that, as I found yoga, felt amazing, helped me get out of the depression, struggling with all this stuff, and I just wanted to do it every day. So I became really consistent in a way I hadn't been before, doing yoga every day, and then take a teacher training and finish it, 9 month training, finish it, and become a certified teacher, and then start teaching classes and stay with it now for 14 years teaching yoga. And I had astrology in the background the whole time. I didn't think I'd ever be an astrologer, but all that to say is yoga helped me find that discipline in myself. Meditation helped me find a level of structure in my life. And for all of us with Ketu and Leo, it's an opportunity to look back to where have you felt this sense of authority, power, leadership, structure in your life, the father energy, man, woman, whatever, you have the father archetype within you, which is how you handle boundaries, how you handle commitments. Do you show up? Do you take responsibility for your actions? Are you consistent? And you may be more on the feminine side, which is less of those qualities, and that's totally fine. But if you want to have a healthy masculine relationship, regardless of your paternal actual biological father, or regardless of the men in your life, you have that archetype and you can work with it. And that's the thing I've had to learn, was like not actually having the man there. It's like, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a dad? Uh, how do I want my life to work? My finances, my structure, my routine, my day. And still, it's like, it still feels like I'm just kind of making it all up. And I think in some ways we all are. But there is this sense of like, I know what works now. So I'm 39 years old. I know, you know, I need this much sleep to function at my best, this much sunlight, water. I learned a lot of that from yoga and Ayurveda. And that's like proven through thousands of years. And, maybe I was Indian or Hindu in my past lifetimes or something, because I really resonate with all of that. And it feels like the most true resonant thing to me. And I honor whatever that is for you. But once you know that, it's like that can provide a lot of that father archetype, that stability, the structure, the routines, the habits that really work for you. So that's something I've been exploring a lot over this cycle. It's been a very challenging month. Ketu and Leo eclipse is like also could be taking away your power. And I got very sick for like 10 days. It was very challenging. And I tried to work. I wanted to work, but I feel like dizzy and nauseous and just had to lay down. And yeah, it happens sometimes. And, it's humbling. It brings you back to what really matters to me. It really, like, I'm so happy to practice yoga and like feel able to breathe fully and just feel in my body, feel normal. Like, it's such a relief. They say like when you have good health, you have a million problems, but when you have bad health, you only have one problem. It's to get over the sickness. And, you've probably experienced that. I experienced that. That felt true for me. But as we're in this eclipse cycle still, we got the sort of on the tail end of it now in the last bit. It's looking at those lessons that you may have learned. And for me, that Ketu and Leo, I feel like I took away my power in a way, but Ketu takes you away from the material and brings you closer to the spiritual, out of the head into the body. So it's like all the stuff we do to keep the mind busy and loud and active, it's more challenging, at least for me, over this month. So there's a big need to like listen to my body. When my body needs attention, take care of it. And a lot has moved. This month has been so intense for me, the eclipse portal. So I have really found a lot of grounding and a sense of like peace and just being in my body, feeling the sun on my skin, moving with my breath, the basic stuff we do in yoga, any pose, and with yoga too, I think it's very important to like not pressure yourself. I was just working with a student recently, because I teach yoga as well, a yoga teacher training podcast, and it's very common. This she was struggling with wanting to do yoga, but she just kept not making time for it. And when we got down under the layers, is like this pressure, the sense like to do yoga means you have to have an hour and it has to look this way and it, has to be this thing. And it really doesn't, like we all have things and phases we go through, phases where we have a lot of space for these kind of things, phases where we don't. So to me, if you just roll out your mat and set a timer for 10 minutes and just do anything that feels good, stretching wise, yoga wise, and then when the 10 minutes is up, you're done, just walk away. You may find you want to go longer. Usually that's what happens when I do that. And you'll probably want to go to 20 minutes or whatever. But that makes such a big difference. And there's been days for me too. And still like where I don't know, I've got so much on my schedule today. I don't know if I have time for this. Just 10 minutes. I'll just do 10 minutes, And after that, it's like I'm in a totally different state. Maybe because of the years of practice, repetition has that kind of impact. You build the neural pathways that become easier to access with repetition. But just 10 minutes, you can do a lot. And, if you have an hour, great. If you don't have an hour, still do something, even 5 minutes. In the book Atomic Habits, I really like, that is a very strong masculine kind of energy and the healthy masculine of like how to be consistent on things. And it's like the goal is not to meditate for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. The goal is to be a meditator. So if you meditate for 1 minute or one breath, you're still a meditator. You're still doing it every day. Or if the goal is to be a yogi or to practice yoga, it's not necessarily that you do 2 hours or 1 hour or 30 minutes or even 10 minutes, but that maybe you do one downward facing dog for 3 breaths and you're still regularly practicing yoga. It made it into your day and it can shift your energy. And just one conscious breath can shift your state. You might know about the physiological sigh, like if you're having trouble sleeping, you just breathe in fully and then breathe in a little more and then sigh it out through the mouth. If you're feeling any tension or stress right now, you might want to try that. The physiological sigh. It's just a pranayama technique essentially to take in all the air and then the long exhale. What's called a Langana pranayama to release the tension in the body and go into more parasympathetic nervous system state. So, there's many techniques like this. And that's something I've found super valuable is to have this access to a lot of these techniques. It's something I will be sharing about soon. I'll be doing a workshop called Deepen Your Practice. More info on that's coming out soon. But today I just wanted to kind of share a little life update, personal share. I'm very excited to have some direction with my father, my paternal side. But very accepting, if nothing comes of it, so be it. But with this Ketu and Leo, I've talked about how it can actually be like taking away identities that have served you well, but no longer serve you. And there's an identity I've had of, well, I looked and I can't find the father. And life, through this conversation with my sister, kind of serendipitously and leading to this direction, is saying maybe there's a new identity I can step into. Or maybe I at least know some of my cousins. So we'll see, say la vie. But hopefully this K2 and Leo time has been leading to growth for you. Maybe it's been challenging for you as well. We all have these challenges. We all have our ups and downs, but hopefully this has given you some perspective on, and the free guide as well. If you haven't got it, quietmindastrology.com, the free guide goes through all of the 12 signs. So whatever your rising and moon sign is, check both of those out. I've had some awesome reviews on it, great feedback. And it's a nice little guide of like, I'm a student too. And I'm always looking like, how do I want to learn astrology? What's helpful to me? So I'm the first student of all this stuff. I found what I think is helpful for actually working with the transits and like actually applying it to your life and not just taking it in. So my hope is like you don't just listen to these episodes or watch on YouTube and it just kind of goes in one ear and out the other. But the free guide is a way to like have a tangible path to work with it. And hopefully you're taking notes when you listen to these and applying it to your life if that resonates with you, if you're a note taker. But I find that helpful too, just taking notes and like putting in the calendar the dates I talk about. And, if I say certain things, the activities to do on certain dates, try it out, see if it resonates with you. And if it does, maybe you want to keep doing it. But now we are in the waxing moon time. So we just passed the new moon. This is a auspicious time. The moon is considered a benefic over these 2 weeks when the moon is waxing and it gets to the full moon. So we're in a time of new beginnings, and the new moon here is like setting the stage for the next 6 months till the next eclipse season coming up around March. So we've got this window now to move in this new path. And the stuff that happens around the eclipse is kind of like a preview, like a trailer for some of the stuff coming up through the 6 months. And you can just look back March to September, what happened in late March, what happened through those 6 months until September. And you might find this to be true for you as well. It's kind of a preview of coming attractions. And then you went through your lessons in portal and transformation through those 6 months. And now we are at this big turning point here and a new direction. So that's all on a personal level, not touching global events right now, but on a personal level, you may be finding a new relationship to your sense of the masculine energy in yourself, the father energy, the sense of leadership, how you want to lead, and the roles that you play in your life and the relationship to your family. And Purva Falguni also, it could be bringing us towards a new understanding of family, what that means to us. And if you are in any sort of role of hiring, leading, delegating, it's an opportunity to evolve that role as well, like maybe getting help. If you try to do everything yourself and that's not working for you, it's a good time to receive help and support. This could be, if you ever run your own business, but also like your team. One of my teachers said you need a team. Like if you're helping people, especially, you need people helping you. If you're filling other people's cup, you need somebody filling your cup. So for me, that's like getting massage, working with teachers and mentors, doing trainings myself. I'm always a student. I'm always in trainings myself, and I always want to be the best student possible. And then I think that helps me be the best teacher I can be. So I recommend that as well. Being a student, being in trainings, having support, friends you can talk to, books to read, podcasts, YouTube, whatever that is for you. But also, there's a part of this that's just in the body, like not too much in the head. Make sure you're also doing the embodiment stuff, yoga, massage, meditation, these kind of things to quiet the mind. And that's what I call my work, Quietmind, from the yoga text, which is yoga is the quieting of the mind so that you can abide in your true self. And that's where we have the real authority, the real perspective of I can play the masculine role, I can play the father role, I can play the feminine role, the mother role. I can find healthy examples of that. I can find negative examples of that. It's this sort of, in the modern sense, it's the prefrontal cortex. It's the part of us that decides and observes things. And the more we meditate, the more we get into that space and we unplug from all the patterns and hardwiring from childhood. So hopefully this helped you gain some perspective as well. I'll be sharing more about the transits, and we're already moving on into October when Jupiter is going to go into Cancer. Pretty big month. And if there's anything you'd like to see in future episodes, let me know on YouTube or comments on Spotify. Thanks for listening. Look forward to sharing more with you next time on the Quiet Mind Astrology podcast.